The U.S. Navy has unveiled what it calls the F/A-XX, a tailless next-generation aircraft designed for carrier operations. At first glance, it looks like the future: long range, low observability, designed for high-end conflict environments. Some commentators immediately labeled it a carrier killer, a direct response to anti-ship missile systems designed to threaten U.S. carriers. But that framing misses the deeper story, because the F/A-XX is not simply about defeating a weapon. It is about preserving a system. And that system, the aircraft carrier, is entering its most fragile phase in decades. The real question is not what the F/A-XX can destroy. The real question is what it reveals about the future of naval power. For nearly 80 years, aircraft carriers have been the centerpiece of American power projection. From World War II to the Gulf War to modern Indo-Pacific patrols, carriers have provided mobility, air dominance, political signaling, strategic flexibility. But the environment around them has changed. Advances in long-range anti-ship missiles, surveillance networks, and precision targeting have introduced new risks. Modern naval competition is no longer about closing distance. It is about controlling distance. Missile systems capable of targeting ships hundreds or even thousands of kilometers away have altered the geometry of sea power. The carrier strike group remains powerful, but its margin of safety has narrowed. And when margins narrow, militaries adapt. The F/A-XX does not exist because carriers are obsolete. It exists because carriers are exposed. Exposure does not mean vulnerability in every scenario, but it does mean the cost of operating close to contested zones has increased. Traditional carrier air wings were designed around aircraft with shorter ranges. That required carriers to operate within specific strike distances. As missile ranges extended, that operating envelope became riskier. The solution is not simply better defense. It is expanded reach. A longer-range aircraft allows the carrier to remain farther from threat zones while still projecting power. In that sense, the F/A-XX is less about aggression and more about distance management. But distance management is not a permanent fix. It is an adaptation within an evolving system. And evolving systems remain unstable until equilibrium is restored. If successfully integrated, the F/A-XX would extend the strike radius of carrier air wings. That would allow carriers to operate farther from contested coastlines, reduce exposure to certain missile systems, maintain deterrence without direct proximity. This scenario preserves the carrier model. It does not transform it. It strengthens it. But strengthening a system under pressure does not remove the pressure. It only buys time. The F/A-XX is expected to operate within a broader network of unmanned systems. This suggests a shift from platform-centric warfare to system-centric warfare. Instead of relying on a single aircraft's capability, the emphasis moves toward distributed sensors, cooperative engagement, data integration. If this model matures, the carrier becomes less a floating airfield and more a node within a larger combat architecture. This would mark a transition in naval warfare, not the end of carriers, but a redefinition of their function. However, system-centric warfare increases complexity. Complex systems create new vulnerabilities, and vulnerability shifts rather than disappears. There is also a strategic dimension. Developing the F/A-XX signals that the United States intends to maintain carrier relevance deep into the future. That sends a deterrence message. But deterrence in a high-precision environment is delicate. Longer-range aircraft may allow standoff operations, yet the closer major powers operate to each other's defensive perimeters, the thinner escalation margins become. Advanced platforms do not eliminate miscalculation. They operate inside it, which means the F/A-XX may strengthen deterrence, but it does not remove the fragility of naval competition. It is unlikely that the F/A-XX alone will neutralize anti-ship missile threats. No single platform solves systemic challenges. It is also unlikely that aircraft carriers will disappear in the near term. They remain adaptable, politically visible, and strategically flexible. What is changing is not their existence. It is their operating logic. Carriers will operate differently, farther out, more networked, more integrated with unmanned systems, but they will still exist within contested environments. Across modern conflict, we see a recurring pattern. When a dominant system becomes exposed, it evolves rather than disappears. Battleships gave way to carriers. Now carriers are adapting to precision missile environments. The F/A-XX represents that adaptation. Not dominance, not invulnerability. Adaptation. And adaptation is often a sign of strength, but also a sign that the previous model has reached its limits. The unveiling of the F/A-XX is not the beginning of a new era of unquestioned carrier dominance. It is a response to a narrowing margin. It reflects a Navy adjusting to a world where distance, detection, and precision matter more than ever. The aircraft may extend reach, it may enhance survivability, it may preserve deterrence. But it doesn't remove the fundamental reality of modern naval warfare. Power at sea is now contested in ways it was not a generation ago. The F/A-XX does not eliminate that contest. It enters it. And the future of aircraft carriers will depend not only on new aircraft, but on how successfully navies adapt to a world where dominance must constantly be recalculated.